My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. I can't even say that it was a great night of fights because it was in the middle of the day. I hate those early cards. The upside is I got to go out last night instead of, being glued to all of this with you guys. I got to go out last night with my wife. But either way, I killed it. I killed it yesterday. I'm going to try to keep my ego to a minimum here, but I absolutely killed it. It was like I was touched by an angel. My bets nailed them. Picks nailed them. DraftKings lineup was great. Monkey Knife Fight picks nailed them. So we're going to walk through all this. I'm going to walk through how we did. Then we're going to get into who won the DraftKings League. We're going to talk about some fights, and we're going to find out who wins the money in our free DraftKings League. If you are a subscriber and you won the league, I'm going to send you $15 at the end of this video. If you are a member, I'm going to send you $30. So if you're watching this now and you won our DraftKings League, make sure you click the join button so I can send you twice as much money. Picks. We had some awesome picks. Every week, even if some of the picks are off, I feel like we give you phenomenal insight. Dan is a professional fighter, trains with some of the best fighters on planet Earth. So his insight is on point and very technical. He's not in there talking about who's taller, all the normal topology nonsense. He's giving you very solid technical insight, and that delivered again this week. If we want to talk about the underdogs that we nailed, I was all over Timur Valiev, all over him. I had two different bets on him, and he was in my DraftKings lineup. He was the biggest underdog on the card. I felt fantastic about that. We'll talk about that fight in a minute because he got a little dicey in the second round, but I'm very glad Timur won that fight. Roni, holy crap, is that dude good? But we'll talk about that in a little bit. In Chukwu, we're all over him. That's a little, can't take a ton of credit for that because he opened as an underdog, but he ended up being a favorite. So it seems like most people were onto that. But Jeremiah Wells, I was all over Jeremiah Wells. My only concern was that 2-year layoff, but I picked him to win. He dominated. He almost gassed and then pulled it together. Looked fantastic. We'll talk about that fight in a minute. But either way, the underdog picks this week were on point. I'm very happy about some of those. So let's talk about my bets. These are the bets that we went through on Friday. We uploaded them. Hopefully you followed along because I killed these. I only missed 2. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on here. Two losses, 6 wins in betting is rock solid. So let me walk through. I missed Volkov and St. Preux. I nailed in Chukwu at -130. I nailed Timur Valiev at +175. Fili Pineda under 2.5 rounds. There was an eye poke. Still hit it. That was going to go that way anyway. That was an absolute beating by Fili, and we'll break that down in a minute. In Chukwu Marquez, over 1.5 rounds at -150. A lot of people thought that was going to be a very early stoppage. I didn't think so, so I hit that one as well. Moicano and Herbert under 2.5 rounds, -120. Nailed that. Moicano slick as hell. And Timur Valiev +3.5 points. So I hit the money line and the +3.5 because I knew Timur was going to win. I was very high on Timur, but let me just hedge my bet there, buying some points. So did really, really well last night. I'm up a bunch of units. Very happy with my bets. Make sure you guys go to wewantpicks.com/bets. You're going to get the best possible match options and the best possible betting options. You're never going to find the 3.5 point prop bet anywhere else. You're never going to get the wins by stoppage, decision, no action anywhere else. You're going to get the best possible prop bets at BetOnline and the best possible match at wewantpicks.com/bets. Go there, sign up for BetOnline, make your deposit, let us know, and then I'll go ahead and I'll Venmo you money. After you sign up, I will send you $20. I know a few of you have signed up, or actually a lot of you have signed up already. So make sure you reach out, let me know so I can send you your money after you make your deposit. It's really easy, and you're never going to get prop bets like this. Sign up now because we have the McGregor-Poirier fight in 2 weeks, and we're going to be all over those bets nice and early because the early lines is when you can make your money. When the odds makers get it wrong, jump on those early lines before they flip. In Chuck Wu this week is a perfect example. He opened as like a plus 160 underdog, and then he flipped to minus 130 by the end of the week. Those are the early lines I want to jump on. So wewantpicks.com/bets. Grab one of the options, sign up, make a deposit, let us know after you did, and I personally will Venmo you or PayPal you $20, however you want your money. Let's talk about monkey knife fights. It's literally impossible to not make money doing monkey knife fight. It's impossible. You get paid 3 times on a win. 3x. You play 20, you win 60. So all you have to do is play 4 or 5. You're definitely going to hit a couple, and you're going to get paid out. Let me walk through the ones that I hit. You probably saw them on the monkey knife fight video that we did, but let me walk through real quick. First, I won their new Knockout King option. So they just added that this week. It's brand new. You pick 3 fighters that you think will win by knockout or TKO. And if you hit one of them, you get paid out at 1.25. You hit 2, I forget what the odds are. But then you get paid out at 2 times. If you get all 3, you get paid out at 4 times, something like that. Either way, all I needed was 1. I had in Chuck Wu 2 others, and Chuck Wu got the stoppage, so I got paid out. Super easy. It's a really cool new option, so check that out. Then I had the more on the main event. We said that was going to go. I was wrong. I thought Volkov was going to win, but no matter what, we said this fight's going to go the distance. It's 99% striking. There's going to be some high volume there, so we hammered the more. We hit that. Did the less on the Fili Pineda fight. Nailed that. I poke, but doesn't matter. That was going to be less anyway because that was definitely headed towards a real stoppage. I did less on Means, more on Dalby, and I nailed that. And Means getting hit real hard in the 3rd round saved me because he had some high volume there, but after he got hit, he was just hanging on for dear life, which kept him at the less. So I nailed that. And then Jacob hit a 4x4, which means he picked 4 different fighters. You pick the more or less on the strike line, and then I think he 8 times your money with that. Maybe you 12 times your money with that. So he made a bunch of money there as well. Go to playmkf.com/wewantpicks. You are not going to be sorry. Check out the comments. Everybody here is killing it. It is impossible to lose money. And it's for all sports, not just MMA. There's no UFC this weekend or next weekend, 4th of July weekend, but there's still basketball and every other sport. So hop in there, play all the other sports, and then come back to us for the UFC picks. Let's talk about DraftKings. Jacob and I both went 5 of 6. We both went 5 of 6. I won money in every single contest I played in. And you know my speech. I do 50-50s and double ups. Those are the only way to make consistent money every single week. It's very simple. You join a 50-50 or a double up. A 50-50 means half the people in the contest win. A double up means you double your money. So it's basically the top 40% of the contest win. If you're here and you watch this channel and you do your research, I promise you are better than half the people that play. I promise you, which means you will take home money every single week. You guys have seen me do it. I have had subpar lineups take home money because I'm still better than half the people out there. So make sure the Conor Poirier fight, you are all over 50-50 and double ups. And I'm telling you right now, that is a monster card, which means everybody in the world's watching, which means all the casuals are coming out and they're all going to play DraftKings. Some for the first time ever, some just play randomly, and none of them are going to take it as seriously as you are or as we do, which means we will take their money. So let's just look at our lineups very, very quickly. I'm on the left. Tim Means won. Moicano won. Chuck Wu won. Rachmanov dominated. Valiev won. Volkov was my only loss. Jacob, he had Fili. He got screwed because the eye poke was a no contest. If it went a little longer, it would have gone to a decision. He would have won. Honestly, that fight could have been stopped 10 seconds earlier. Genuinely stopped. So Jacob kind of got screwed out of some win points there, but that's a win. He had Gane in the main event. He scored well there. Yancy Medeiros is his only actual loss, and Yancy scored 60 points in a loss. 60. That's a lot of points in a loss. He had in Chukwoo, Rachmanov, and Valiev. He was all over Valiev as the underdog as well. So Jacob and I both went 5 of 6, took home money everywhere. Make sure you follow along. I'm telling you, 50-50s and double ups. You all want to chase the $100,000, which great, do that. But you want to not have to do deposits and make money every single week. 50-50s, double ups. You will not be sorry. Let's talk about some fights. We got Charles Rosa versus Justin James right out of the gate. Justin James, oh my God, the low fight IQ. Brutal. That was tough to watch. I mean, I'd had Charles Rosa win in the fight. That's my pick. But still, as a fan, that was brutal to watch him give that up. So if you didn't see it, Charles Rosa was beating Justin James. You know, Justin James had some successes here and there, but for the most part, Charles Rosa controlled the grappling, kept Justin James's striking under control, and was winning that fight. Third round, Justin James cracked him, had Rosa on ice skates, cracked him again. Things were getting really bad for Charles Rosa, and then Justin James shoots a takedown. All of his momentum gone, gives Charles Rosa the opportunity to recover, and absolutely 100% blew it. Made no sense whatsoever. Guy has terrible fight IQ, and the announcer said he will regret that takedown for the rest of his life, and he absolutely will. Julia Avila versus Julia Stoliarenko. Great fight. Avila looked fantastic. She was actually technically the biggest favorite on the entire card. This fight was supposed to happen a month or two ago. It was rebooked for this time. The first time around, I picked Stoliarenko. Said she's super tough. We have seen her in wars. Face mangled, doesn't give up, keeps coming forward. This time around, I did pick Avila. With that being said, I did not see Avila absolutely dominating the way she did. She looked fantastic. She ended up winning by submission, which is not what anybody anticipated. If there was a submission win, everybody thought it was going to be on the other side. So either way, Avila looked fantastic. She was very emotional at the end of the fight, talking about how she was kicked out of her gym, had to start her own gym. I have no idea what happened or why, but very happy for her. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing her fight again. Warley Alves versus Jeremiah Wells. I love it. I absolutely love it. This has been happening like crazy lately. These short notice, last minute replacements coming in here, blowing the brakes off of people. Even the UFC debut, I had Jeremiah Wells winning. If you go to that video, I said, I think Jeremiah Wells wins this fight. My only concern is that 2-year layoff, but I think he wins this fight. And boy, did he look good. He looked fantastic. A ton of power, a ton of speed, and he is a grappler. And that's why I thought he was going to win. I picked him to win because he's a Pennsylvania wrestler, Pennsylvania grappler. I mean, that's tough. And then I'm sure all of you did your research. Very quickly, you see his CES fights where he's taking people out by knockout. And I was like, you know what? Jeremiah Wells looks fantastic. I'm picking him to win. I did not anticipate no grappling. Basically didn't grapple at all. And I did not anticipate his cardio being as good as it was. 2-year layoff, guns blazing. Dude didn't fade much. He faded a little bit, but it didn't matter. Got the stoppage. Great job, Jeremiah Wells. Super happy. Look forward to his next fight for sure. I'm really happy I picked him to win. I wish I laid out money, but the odds makers were kind of onto it. So obviously he was an underdog, but I was hoping he'd be like a plus 400 or something absurd, right? He had a 2-year layoff. It's his UFC debut, and he took it on like 4 days notice. But the odds makers were a little more conservative, which is kind of disappointing. But either way, I'm very glad he won. I'm definitely looking forward to his next fight. We had Prazeres versus Rachmanov. And it's funny, the announcers were talking about how they pronounce his name. Rachmanov. I don't know. Either way, that dude is legit. And he was basically a guaranteed win. I was 100% positive he was going to be in my DraftKings lineup. And, you know, I almost built the lineup after him because I knew how good he was. And he could win the fight anywhere he wants. With that being said, this was the biggest reach differential, like almost ever. And he still, I felt like he didn't use his range that well. Like he dominated, so I'm not taking anything away from him. But with a 12-inch, a 1-foot reach advantage, I'm surprised that he got touched, right? Michel Prazeres did touch him up a few times. So Rachmanov dominated, won the fight, looked fantastic. Definitely looking forward to his next fight. I'm just Very curious to see what happens if he fights somebody with a ton of power that has no problem coming inside the pocket, because he doesn't keep people at bay. This is a perfect opponent to hide behind the jab, and he didn't. But either way, dude is amazing. He's very good everywhere, and I'm definitely looking forward to his next fight. Danilo Marquez versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. I want to say great fight, but was it a great fight? I mean, the first 2 rounds was Danilo just hanging on Nzechukwu's back, and then came the Nzechukwu stoppage because Danilo got gassed. Either way, this is the second time Kennedy was losing and had a come from behind knockout. I don't know if I can bank on that a third time. I imagine he's going to get a level up of opponent here, and whoever he fights next, I'm assuming will not gas late, will not get clipped the way they do. With that being said, Nzechukwu looked great when he actually turned it on. And what's crazy is he was able to defend the doubles, no problem. It's the singles he couldn't defend. DC talked about it, saying it's very easy to defend doubles as a non-wrestler when you can train that. Singles are very different because you have to balance, and it takes years of wrestling. Either way, Marquez looked fantastic those first 2 rounds. I had 2 bets on this fight. I had the under on rounds, or the over on rounds, and I had Nzechukwu money line. And I was like, this isn't looking good for me, when right out of gate, 20 seconds in, Marquez picks him up, slams him, takes his back. I was like, holy crap, I'm screwed. Either way, Nzechukwu survived, got it done. We mentioned that in the breakdown. He did the same exact thing in his last fight, was getting beat up, survived, and then got it done. I love seeing that. The always live, never going to quit, isn't going to break. At the same time, I don't know how much longer he could possibly do that, where he's getting beat up and then has a come from behind win. Either way, I'm very happy. It was awesome to watch. That last round, watching that happen, that was awesome to watch. Renato Moicano versus Jai Herbert. We talked about how slick Moicano is, and damn, is he slick on the ground. I mean, once this fight hit the ground, it wasn't even, you couldn't even compare. They were in different worlds. Renato Moicano looked fantastic on the ground. He did get touched on his feet. So anytime it was striking, Jai Herbert did touch him. He was never in any real danger, but he did get touched on his feet. His grappling looked fantastic. And this pick, we picked him. He was in my lineup. And I had a bet on this as well. The pick was based off of Renato grappling. We've seen some fights where he's very good technical striker. We've seen some fights where he loves to go out there and strike instead of do what he does best. We banked on him using his grappling and going back to his roots, and he absolutely did. So very happy for that. That dude is so slick on the ground. Andre Fili versus Daniel Pineda. This was an absolute one-sided beating from Andre Fili that ended, unfortunately, with an eye poke. But, I mean, Andre Fili looked fantastic. I mentioned in the breakdown that I always felt like Andre Fili never lived up to the hype. Like, I think he was supposed to be the champion. Like, that guy was... He was a Cody Garbrandt, where he's going to come out there, good everywhere, rise to the top very quickly. And he doesn't have a lot of losses, but he does have some key losses. So I just felt like he never lived up to his potential. But the Andre Fili that we saw yesterday, that Andre Fili could be a champion. I mean, he looked fantastic. He looked good absolutely everywhere, did everything he was supposed to do. He dropped Pineda. I mean, Pineda's chin is outstanding. He dropped him multiple times. And unfortunately, an eye poke is why this fight ended in a no contest, when the reality is that referee should have stopped it 10 seconds earlier just by TKO stoppage. But great fight. Congrats for, not congrats, but Pineda, tough as hell, tried to continue. They wouldn't let him, obviously. I mean, he couldn't even open his eyes. But that was a great fight, and Andre Fili's the real deal. Honi Barcelos versus Timur Valiev. It was all over Timur Valiev. All over him. Had 2 different bets on him. He was in my DraftKings lineup. One of the heaviest underdogs, definitely the heaviest underdog on the main card. One of the heaviest underdogs on the entire card. Had him winning. I was very glad he won, obviously. I thought he was going to win because of his wrestling, but it was just his high volume output, his Frankie Edgar style, just keep moving forward, keep throwing stuff, don't stop, is what got it done. First round, he won. Almost nothing happened in the first round, but he at least had a little more volume. Second round, he was dropped twice. Third round, he just kept pressuring forward, kept throwing bombs. I've never seen someone recover that well. I mean, the announcers mentioned Gray Maynard versus Frankie Edgar and how Frankie Edgar recovered. So I guess I have seen somebody recover that well, but like he was almost put out in that second round, came back in the third and looked like that had never happened. So Honey Barcelos is fantastic. If this was Pride scoring, and if you don't know what Pride is, it was like UFC in Japan years ago. They didn't score rounds. We score rounds, 10-9 round. Every single round gets scored. You total it up at the end. They just scored the fight. And if this was scored as a fight, I think Honey wins because he almost, if you just look at the fight and who was more impactful with what they did, Barcelos dropped Tino Valias twice and almost stopped him. So he actually had, he had more impact on the fight than Teamer did, but Teamer won. I'll take it all day. This is America. We do 10-9 must system and we do rounds. So I'll take it all day. I'm very happy for him. Barcelos looked fantastic. So I'm looking forward to his next fight as well, but great fight. I made a ton of money off that dude. Hopefully you guys followed along. But that was a very good fight. Very tense. Honestly, the one judge who scored it a draw, he was probably correct because that second round was definitely a 10-8. He got dropped twice and almost stopped. And the new rules allow for 10-8s. Back in the day, a 10-8 was like you almost died. Now a 10-8 is just a pretty dominant round. It doesn't have to be that bad, but it was pretty bad because he was almost stopped. So probably should have been a draw. If I was a judge, I would have scored a draw. Let me know in the comments how you would have scored it, but I don't care. Dude won. I'll take it. I'll take my money. I'll take the DraftKings win. Great fight. We have the main event, Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov. I picked it wrong. I had Volkov winning. And that first round, even the second round, I was like, oh, here we go, Volkov. I'm going to go 6-0 in my DraftKings lineup. But he had a great game plan. Came out, was trying to light up Gane's legs, just slow down, stop that Gane movement. But he just didn't do enough. He just wasn't, he was touching up the legs and the volume was there. It was funny because if I was watching the live stats and Jacob and I were texting and Jacob's like, Gane's winning. And I was like, what are you talking about? Volkov won the first round. Volkov won the second round. What are you talking about? And then I screenshotted the stats and sent him the stats. And it's like, dude, Volkov's outlanding him everywhere. And then those stats flipped and Gane turned it on. So Volkov definitely beat up Gane's legs early. And that is an awesome game plan. The problem is there was no real power behind those. He was just touching them. He wasn't actually lighting them up and slowing them down. He was just touching the legs. So Ciryl Gane, holy crap, is that guy good? And you guys said he was that good. I just thought, styles make fights. I thought Volkov's length, reach was going to keep him at bay. And Dan said it best where he's like, Gane comes in and out. When he comes out, he's going to have to come out way farther than he normally does. Either way, Gane looked amazing in that fight. He definitely lost the first round. The second, he lost most of it and then had a little flurry at the end. But either way, Gane looked fantastic. His in and out movement, he moves really, really well. I mean, it's amazing how that guy pops in and out, how big he is. And you can tell he has power, but it doesn't feel like there's power, if that makes any sense. But the dude moves well. He had one takedown attempt, didn't get it, but he didn't need it because he was just so fast, such high volume, moving forward. He just beat up Volkov the rest of that fight. I definitely want to see Gane versus Francis Ngannou. They used to be teammates, so that would be interesting. I think Gane is definitely the better striker. Francis Ngannou has power for days. So I can't wait to see Gane versus somebody with a ton of power, like a Ngannou, like a Derek Lewis. I definitely want to see those fights because I just want to see how he deals with that power. His speed, his technique is absolutely on point. Great job, Ciryl Gane. He's the real deal. And he absolutely, it's not out of the question that dude is a champ, in this calendar year. So either way, I thought these fights were a ton of fun. I'm biased because I made a ton of money yesterday, not last night, in the middle of the day. I made a ton of money. So I'm super happy. The fights were super entertaining. Comment down below. Let me know how much money you made, what you did, how your Monkey Knife fights went, all of it. We love seeing it. Now, let's talk about who won our DraftKings League. If you don't know, we have a free DraftKings League. There is a link in the description, a fancy QR code up top if you're watching on a TV. And every single week we do a free contest. It costs you nothing to join, nothing to play. But if you win and you're a subscriber, I will send you $15 cash money from my Venmo, from my PayPal, Cash App, however you want your money. If you're a member, which means you click the join button below, I send you $30. So Claw or Killa64, if you're watching this, click the join button. Don't be foolish. Double your money. I owe you money. So let's take a look at your lineup. You went a perfect 6-0. We had Gane in the main event, 85 points, which it's kind of low, honestly, for a main event like that. 5 full rounds, as busy as he was, but strikes aren't worth as much as control time and takedowns. Bozer looked fantastic. I was rooting for St. Preux. I just like the guy, and it clouds my judgment. I did not have him in my DraftKings lineup because even in a win, that dude scores like 0 points. He's just always waiting and tentative. But either way, Tanner Bozer looked fantastic. In Chukwu, with the late stoppage, only 57.4 points. I imagine that's the lowest scoring stoppage win anybody has ever had. 50. He doesn't even have 60 points. That's because he scored 0 points till the third round, then only won by stoppage. We had Rachmanov, 98 points. That dude is an absolute machine. Wells over Alves. Jeremiah Wells, I picked him to win. I didn't have the nuts to put him in my lineup, but you did. Great job. 96.36 points. And Charles Rosa survived, absolutely survived by the skin of his teeth that fight. A nice 84.5 points because of all the takedowns and all the control. So great job, great lineup. I owe you money. Do the right thing, become a member. But go to WeWantPicks.com. At the bottom of the page, there's a form. Just send us an email. Send me a note there. That's how we'll get you paid. Let me know how you want your money and where you want your money. Let's take a look at second place. Mr. Savage Level 9000. You went 5 of 6. You had Volkov in the main. Oh, no, you went 4 of 6. 2 losses, and you still scored 475 points. Isn't this amazing? It always blows my mind how well you can do with a couple of losses. It's all about chasing stoppages. Volkov in the main event, only 46 points, but Moicano, 130 points. Barcelos over Valiev. I was all over Valiev. 52 points. And Chukwu, 57 points. Rachmanov, 98. Jeremiah Wells, 96. Solid lineup. I mean, Barcelos was definitely the safe pick, but I had Valiev there. And Volkov in the main event. I mean, the reality is a lot of people had Volkov in that main event, me included. And we'll take a look at third place. Always win 23. Not this time, not always. You had Gane in the main event, Moicano, Bozer, and Chukwu. Your only 2 losses are Justin James and Yancy Medeiros. But look at this. Yancy scored almost 60 points in a loss, which is tremendous. 60 points in a loss is tremendous. Justin James, 50 points. Did pretty well. Almost won that fight very late with a stoppage. That would have been fantastic for you. Either way, great night of fights, day of fights. I keep saying night by habit. These things are in the middle of the day, which always sucks. But great day of fights. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, let us know down below. We have a week off. We'll be putting out some content anyway. We're going to get you the Conor McGregor stuff early because you want to get on it early. Make sure you go up to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up. Let us know. We'll pay you, but let's get on those betting lines early before they're changed. And same thing with Monkey Knife Fight. Go to PlayMKF.com/WeWantPicks. Sign up, make a ton of money. You triple your money every time. And join this free DraftKings League. It costs $0. You can win yourself 15 or 30 if you do the right thing. Thank you guys very much. We will see you next week.